guys, this is Tarot with Kittens, Weights, and Tarot, bringing you the April 2019 Faves! Woo-oo-oo-oo. So there was a lot going on in April. April was a busy month for my job at the high school. It was also spring break, so my job had like a couple weeks of spring break, but I was also working with my athletes. Like, we still had our track meets, we still had track practice. I got a lot done around the house, got to do a little bit of spring cleaning, got to work in the front yard a little bit, tend to my roses, my beautiful roses. And I got to work with a lot of decks. So this one is probably going to be my most deck heavy favorites. Like, you guys would be so sad. First, I want to start off with some jewelry. So my favorite jewelry for the month of April. First up in the month of April was my little Snoopy pendant. The dude gave this to me, I think, for it was either Christmas or my birthday of last year, and I really love Snoopy, and I love the Peanuts gang, and we finally got our season passes to Knott's Berry Farm. Normally the dude would go with our friend to Knott's Berry Farm, and they would go ride the roller coasters, because I'm like not really a roller coasters person, but I do love the food there. I love the boysenberries, the boysenberry pie. I love the fried chicken, which is what Knott's Berry Farm was kind of known for before, all of the amusement park stuff. So we finally got ourselves some season passes so that when he's not riding roller coasters with our other friend, he can go with me there, and we can go to like the old ghost town, and we can do like the little like baby rides for me, and all of that. So this is just kind of like, our fun time that we get to have together at Knott's Berry Farm. So I really love this. So this was a addition to a necklace that I already had. I just kind of did a little add-on. So I already had the little winged foot necklace, for track and field. I've got a few track and field necklaces, but I ended up getting this like Caduceus pendant to go with the winged foot, because as we know, the winged shoe is Hermes, or in Roman mythology it's Mercury, and I've been working a lot with Mercury lately and really getting to know him, and kind of finding out that he's kind of been reaching out to me for quite some time. It just took me a while to kind of figure out that it was Mercury, and so I really have been called to like really start working with him, and I see a lot of this like Caduceus like symbolism everywhere in the winged foot. Well, I mean, of course, because I'm a track and field coach, but other than the winged foot, all the other symbols that are associated with Mercury. So I got this, but I also got a other Caduceus pendant with the chakras on it, which I thought was pretty cool. Because although I believe it was his son is Asclepius, is really known for having like the single staff with the single snake, and known for healing, like Mercury also, was known for a bit of healing as well. So I thought this was pretty cool. So I'm digging these. And I have a particular tea that I was really drawn to in April. Although I drink a lot of different types of tea, it was this tea that I think I've had most nights, and it's one that I've had for a while. But when you like are like a tea connoisseur and you have like a whole cabinet full of tea, there are some that maybe you kind of forget about because you get like some new teas. So I have gone back to my Twinings Earl Grey tea, because if it's good enough for the captain, it's good enough for me. And I was like, why aren't I drinking my Earl Grey tea? So I've been busting out some more of my Earl Grey. Those of you that are tea fanatics, yes, ASMR. Smells so good. Okay. The dude and I have, like, you would think we were total like candy fiends, like candy monsters. Like, we have a whole like shelf in our cabinet that's just like junk food, like candy and sweets and like chips and things like that. But some of the stuff in there like gets really old and we have to throw it out, because what we do is like we get sweets, and then, you know, the once every like few weeks where we like go nuts and like have a bunch of sweets, we'll just like eat a little bit and then we put the bag back in, and then it's like we don't. But so we went on one of those like things where we got like a few sweets, and you know, Easter is in April and there's like all this like yummy like Easter candy out, so we've had a little bit of that. You know, we went to a couple of friends parties. You know, one of our friends is, you know, very Catholic, so we had kind of like a Vietnamese Catholic kind of Easter brunch, and then one of our friends is, you know, very witchy, so we had like our witchy brunch, you know, so that was like pretty cool. But this is something that we picked up at Costco, and I don't think it's actually connected to Easter, but you know, there was a lot of goodies out, and so it's the Stroopwafel, and this is so freaking good. It says that it is a toasted waffle filled with caramel, so it's like pretty thick. And what you do is you're supposed to put it on top of your tea, so you'll have your cup of tea just like this, and you put your Stroopwafel on top, and then it gets nice and warm and the caramel gets warm inside, and then you can have like your little Stroopwafel while you have your tea. And it's very, very sweet, so we haven't eaten a lot of these. Actually, this is mostly full still. I think we've had like 4, like 2 for me, 2 for the dude, like the entire month of April. But that doesn't mean I don't love it. Like, I love staring at it and like, Stroopwafel. So yeah, these next 3 things were kind of like they're like seasonal stuff. And I'm not a huge Oreo cookie fan. I mean, I'll have an Oreo once in a while, but to me it's like kind of chalky. And my girl Steph out in Belgium, like, she hates Oreos, but I'm thinking she might like these. And this was the carrot cake Oreo. P.S. tastes really nothing like carrot cake, but it does taste like pumpkin spice, or like kind of like nutmeggy gingerbread cookie. Like, to me it tastes like Christmas. Tastes like Yule. So maybe they didn't get the whole carrot cake right, but it's still delicious. Maybe not carrot cake, but pumpkin spice. So yeah, this is good, and I think I've had a row, like, you know, since like it took me this whole month, but I've had a row, and it's and my weakness is Reese's peanut butter cups. I know that's probably like a lot of this, like the most unhealthiest stuff in the world, and you're like, oh, but you know, aren't you like Little Miss Fitness? Okay, I work out really hard so that once in a while I can eat like garbage, okay? I need some, like, you know, flavor in my life sometimes, you know. I mean, although there's some really good, healthy, flavorful, you know, healthy foods out there, sometimes you just want some junk food, okay? You know, so I work out really hard so that I can have my junk food. And my weakness is Reese's Pieces. And when they have the Reese's Pieces eggs, dude, I'll be going to town. Another seasonal item is Peeps. So, you know, this year we went with the OG yellow Peeps, which basically is just a chemical S-storm of deliciousness. It's basically just marshmallows, sugar and more sugar, and chemicals. Yes, they taste like yellow. But yeah, I like Peeps. They remind me of my childhood. On a more nutritious route, I have been loving the kumquats that have been growing on the tree in our front yard. We have 3 kumquat trees. This is kind of what's left of like the 20 pounds of kumquats that I harvested. There's still more growing on the tree. It's like going nuts. I left some up there because some of the groupings of kumquats were still kind of green, and I wanted them to ripen up. But I've been giving them away, like, to my athletes, to friends, to the repairman that came to our house for our whole house fan. I'm like, hey, you want some kumquats? Like, and if you don't know what they are, they're kind of a cross between like a nectarine and an apricot, or maybe even a peach. You know, kind of somewhere in there. You know, they do have like a little bit of a fuzzy exterior. They have like sometimes 3 or 4 giant seeds inside that you have to spit out, and maybe you don't want to eat the butts, but you know, you just eat it and then like toss the seeds, and hey, if another kumquat tree grows, then you know, fantastic. And the seeds actually kind of look like tiger's eye, which is neat. So yes, I've been loving my kumquats. Ooh, and I want to get into stones. There's one particular stone. Number one, it's my favorite stone in the whole world, but you know, I'm always kind of working with different stones each month, but I've really been called to my favorite stone, and like that's the stone I pretty much stuck with the entire month, and that is Hemimore Fight. You know, I've talked about it. A lot of people don't know what Hemimore Fight is. It is like in different colors. Like sometimes it's a brown, or rarely it's a pink, and sometimes it's in different colors. It looks different depending on the part of the world that it is mined from. When you get this icy blue color like this, that's because it's mostly mined in China. So I prefer the Chinese, you know, type of Hemimore Fight. So here's just some more of my pieces. This is the one that has, well, these two pretty much been hanging out in my pocket. And this is like a really nice piece that came from the Yunnan province in China. So yeah, I mean, Hemimore Fight already is my favorite stone in the whole world, but you know, I really was like, you know, I felt like its energy and what it wanted me to work through and do for the month of April was really in the realm of Hemimore Fight. And then during spring break, there's this once a year thing that we do with our athletes. It's our annual beach run. We go down to Mission Beach, go for a little run, and then we make a pit stop at it's like a little acai place, you know, and the kids get like a little acai bowl, and then we go walk back. We do some plyometrics afterwards. We do a little bit more jogging, and then they get to go, you know, play in the ocean, have fun, you know, and their parents are there too. So it's kind of fun. And this time, you know, because I'm always looking for seashells, this time I found a mega shell, and take a look at this mega shell, this mollusk, and I'm kind of sad that, you know, the majority of it has eroded away, but you can just tell this was so cool. I mean, this is still really cool. It's still got like bits and pieces of ocean and seaweed on it, and just when I saw it, I was like, ah, and you can see it still has like some of that pearl to it. So yeah, I'm digging this, and this has been having its place on my altar. Speaking of altar, I have gotten a couple of statues recently devoted to the deities that I've been working with. One of them I've been working, well, actually no, both of them I've been working with for a really long time. I just didn't have like an altar representation for them, you know, on I guess my altar representation on my altar. Yes. You know, other than maybe like the caduceus for Mercury and like what I could wear. And then like, you know, maybe some other things that could represent the other one, but I finally got some actual statues that are just for them. And the first one is my Mercury. Look at this. I know it says Hermes, and technically people say, oh, they're basically the same, just one is Greek and one is Roman. There's some other stories that don't, you know, translate between the two cultures, but I feel more drawn to the Roman god Mercury. But yeah, I got this actually, funny enough, off of Amazon. It's really well made. There is it wasn't through Prime or anything. It was like one of those third-party sellers, but it came really fast. It was like free shipping through them, and they have like a few other gods and goddesses, you know, but I was like, wow, I have my Mercury. And the other one was Horus. Like I connect so much with Horus. I feel that's kind of like like my father in deity form, you know, like that's kind of like this like masculine watching over me all the time, kind of like a father figure. And every time I see a beautiful, you know, hawk in the sky, even though I know that it's like supposed to be a falcon, but every time I see a hawk, I think of Horus, and I always know that I am protected. And recently I saw a big white hawk, and it's like, I've never seen a white hawk before, so I literally had to go look it up, and I think it was called a ferruginous hawk, kind of in its light morph form. Wow. And I heard its call like the other day, and then I saw it the next day. I was just like, so yeah. Just, yeah, yes, Horus and me are like, And then there's one book I kind of devoted most of my time to in April, and that was Numerology by Juno Jordan. It says the romance in your name, and I mentioned this in one of my live chats that, you know, I just gotten the book, and I was like, oh, and I am actually now almost done with it because it's been so intense and so much information. I've you know, okay, somebody who is not a fan of mathematics is having a lot of fun with this numerology book and finding out, you know, everything about myself since the time I was born. You can like go through every year of your life and see like everything that's happened in numbers, and it's like crazy. Like, it's blowing my mind, you know. I mean, I know that I use other methods like, you know, tarot and meditation, and I can go back and, you know, see some parts of my life, but to see it just in numbers and just like easily put out on paper, and you're just like how is that possible, you know? So don't be fooled where it says the romance in your name. It's not really about romance. It's more finding a deep connection with your name, your the name that is on your birth certificate. So not your nickname, not if you changed your name. And it does talk about nicknames and when you change your name and all of that, or when you you know, if when women get married, if they do a hyphenated name, or if they change their last name, or maybe they don't change their last name. Like, there's all this stuff in here, and it's so fascinating. The woman who wrote it was born in the late 1800s. This book is from the 60s, but it's so good. I am actually probably tonight going to be able to finish the rest of it. So if you're looking for a book to dive into numerology and really looking into your name, and the energy that's behind each letter in your name and how that corresponds to your birth number and how that corresponds to your destiny number and all this stuff, like, I highly recommend this book. All right, and the part that you guys have all been waiting for is the decks that I have been loving and using in the month of April. Like I said, there's quite a few, so maybe I won't like go through a lot of cards just so I can get through them quickly, but here they are. So these 3 decks that I have here are actually the ones that I'm using for my daily draws right now, and one of them is the Raven's Wand Oracle, and this is based off of a book series, and so that's something I want to dive into this summer, is kind of, you know, because I really connect with this Oracle deck, and I'm loving the characters and reading the guidebook about, you know, just glimpses into who these characters are and, you know, what they represent in these cards, and I'm like, wow, this sounds like a really fascinating like book series. So I'm going to have to jump into that this summer when I have more time. So I am going to start off, I think it's called just the Raven's Wand, or something like that. I think that's actually the name of the book. But yeah, I'm gonna be reading that, and then I think that would just help me have a deeper connection with the cards as well, because I'm really loving the cards and I'm really loving the arts. Like, look at that. The next deck that I've been using for, well, I mean, I've been using, but I'm also using for my daily draws right now, is my Animal Allies Oracle cards, and this is by Jessica Swift. And if you guys know me, you know, I'm like a fur baby mama, so I love me my animals, and most of my decks, I think 90% of my decks are animal decks. This is the backing. So yeah, I like to work it with animal medicine and the energy of animals and what they have to teach us. So like when I mentioned earlier about, you know, the white hawk, of course I looked into everything about the ferruginous hawk, you know, its habitat, its migration patterns, its what does it eat, you know, and things like that, so that I can find some sort of medicine or message in having it come say hello to me. So I love when I can have, you know, a nice little cute little animal bringing a message to me every day for my daily draw. I think today was Turtle. And my other deck, which I've had for actually quite some time, is Durian Virtue's Goddess Guidance Oracle cards. And I know that the whole like DV thing, the whole Durian Virtue thing, she's, you know, basically said that tarot and oracle cards are like the devil, even the ones that she's created, and like tried to take her name off of them. But I don't think that has affected the energy of this deck. I think the deck has with the deities that are on these cards kind of hold their own energy, and they have really no connection to her anymore. It's kind of like they've taken off an energy all their own. And so I've been enjoying very much diving into these goddesses and trying to learn a lot about each one that I pull, you know, for my daily guidance, like why they've decided to help me out that day. You know, and it's interesting, you know, it gives you a glimpse into other people's cultures, and yeah, I just really like it. So looking at the decks that are not my current daily draw cards, but I have used quite a bit throughout April, and that was the Spirit Animal Oracle by Colette Varian Reed. And again, you know, me and animals. So this is the backing. So this one has actually, you know, like a little sentence or keyword underneath the animal, unlike the animal allies. You know, I can go either way. I can have keywords, I can not have keywords. You know, I've done quite a bit of study about animals, mostly through, you know, Ted Andrews' books, but other books as well. So, you know, I think just kind of good to just connect with the image of an animal, but, you know, I appreciate the keywords too. So, oh, yes, this was my card today, although from another deck. This other deck, the Mystical Wisdom deck, I actually got in the Witch's Moon box, which I am subscribed to. And at first I wasn't sure how I would work with it. I know that the cards are beautiful. I, you know, have seen this artist's artwork before. Let me just... Okay, so yeah, it's written by Gay Guthrie and art is by Josephine Hall. So I've seen Josephine Hall's work before, but I'm like, I don't know if there's like too much going on. I wouldn't be able to, you know, connect with the deck, albeit it is beautiful. And believe me, I have made a connection with this deck, and I'm very happy to have received it through the Witch's Moon box. And yeah, there is a lot going on. There's a lot to meditate with and a lot to kind of gain through the energy of these cards, but I totally was digging them. Okay, so these other decks, they're newer decks, but I've been working with them quite a bit. And one of them is the Rebel deck, the game. And so I have the OG Rebel deck. I have the Rebel deck Couples Edition. And I did a whole walkthrough of this, so if I think I've done a review of a lot of these decks, so always just check my playlist where I have my deck reviews if you ever want to see them in more detail. But basically they're split into scenario cards and answer cards. So it'll give you, because it's like a game, a scenario card like this, where it says, I am obsessing about my own shit, blank will help me get over myself. Then you would pull an answer card, and it says, this is what will help get over yourself, getting over my own bullshit. That's awesome. So it says that you can use like tarot cards or oracle cards if you didn't want to use their answer card. Like you can have a scenario and then pull a tarot card to fill in the blank, or an oracle card. It's, I think, a lot of fun. I really like it. I like I have also liked creating my own scenarios, like creating a sentence and then like I would do a fill in the blank and then using one of the answer cards here for that. I think it's good for journaling too, and it's good just sometimes for fun. So the next deck is called Laughing Eye, Weeping Eye, and this is an indie deck, and let me just find the creator real quick for you. So this is by Rebecca Schonecker. Here's her card. Okay, so these are the backs, and they're very simple, very colorful, but I really like it. I wasn't sure, I mean, I got it because it wasn't too expensive, and I was like, I think I'm gonna like it. You know, I see a lot of people have decks kind of like these, and so once I got it, just instant connection. And so yeah, I've been able to use it quite a bit in April. So being able to use all these decks in April, it's like, you know, I'm pulling cards multiple times a day, so sometimes I'll just go between all these decks, you know, instead of just like one deck, which sometimes that happens. Like one month it'll just be like one deck the whole month. This one has been like mix and match, lots of decks. The other one, which I just did a review on, is the Dark Mansion Tarot, and this is the obviously a large edition, and this is by the Tarotteca Studio. And yeah, I'm so stoked with this deck. This one, I blame Jennifer Ball. Jennifer Ball, you be showing so many cool decks, man. She is the queen of, like, you know, indie decks and Kickstarter and Indiegogo, and just finding like the coolest, you know, creations that are out there. And I really appreciate her videos. So, you know, she did like a side-by-side with like their standard version and their larger version. And I went with the larger version just because I like the backings, and sometimes I really appreciate larger cards. So yeah. The other one is the Vessel Oracle. And this one took me a while to get because it just looked a little too odd for me, you know, but you know, once I got the laughing eye, weeping eye, I was like, you know, I'm gonna give this one a go. I'm just gonna go for it. I'm gonna give it a go, and I'm so glad that I did, because the messages are very blunt, actually, and I really dig that, you know, blunt but not like scarring. It's just really what you need to hear. Right, the other deck that I had pre-ordered that showed up in April and I've been using quite a lot is the Alice Tarot by Baba Studios. Whoa! So this, I believe, is the reprinting, because they had an Alice Tarot before, but oh my gosh, look at that shininess. And there's a lot of shine in the cards, which is kind of cool. They have like some gildedness. I love, you know, the representation of Alice. You know, by the way, Alice in Wonderland like scared me when I was a child. Now I can kind of understand, you know, the metaphors and the symbolism, the archetypes in Alice in Wonderland, and I like how it's portrayed in this deck. And this deck is very silly, but silly kind of like, I don't know, I guess it's like the Cheshire Cat is talking to you, but through tarot cards. It's pretty fun. The other deck, again, I pre-ordered this one. This one was on Kickstarter, and I don't normally do a whole lot of like backing on Kickstarter, Indiegogo. Like I'll do that once in a while, especially if, you know, the person is like from our community and I know them, and of course I want to support them and back them. And one of them is the, her name is Ivy Fang, and she is like part of this print shop out in China, and she's actually my contact for, you know, when Wallys World gets funded, I'll be printing my cards through her. But she had her own tarot deck, and it's the Wheel of Fortune Tarot. And of course, I'm gonna back my homegirl. I mean, just look at all of that. But she had a friend of hers who did these paintings for the tarot. So she's got some gilded edging. I chose the copper because she had met her stretch goals. We were given an option of what type of edging we wanted. I just wanted the copper edging. But yeah, her friend did all these paintings, these large paintings, and then she converted them into a tarot deck, or Ivy did. So yeah, I really like it. Ivy, you did such a good job. Yeah, I love the colors. I love how it speaks to me. I love how it reads. I actually have been loving how it connects with my Oracle deck. Okay, and you know your girl is not going to be like, oh, these are all my favorite tarot and Oracle decks, and not mention my own Oracle deck? So yes, Wallys World, A Healing Journey Through Sacred Sites is still up on Kickstarter, but not for very long. It ends on May 12th at 1 p.m. May 12th being Mother's Day, actually, so kind of like nurturing the divine feminine within, I just thought it was just so interesting, you know, starting April 12th, you know, it's ending on Mother's Day, and a few days after that is Mercuralia, so the Feast of Mercury on May 15th, and I've been working with Mercury, and so I don't know, I just think it's all kind of coming together, and I appreciate everybody who has supported me thus far on Kickstarter to help make this a reality so that more can be printed. It can be printed in its beautiful version with its gold foil and its gilded edging and its guidebook and its beautiful box with Wally on top of the earth, so that other people can, you know, have a chance to you know, work with the healing that this deck has to offer. And, you know, all the images, they're not my images. Most of them are, but a lot of them are from our community members, just personal sacred places, you know, that they find healing for them, and then they're sharing that healing with us, because, you know, a lot of us don't have the money to go travel all over the world or to everybody's personal sites, that even if we did travel to a certain place, you know, like if I traveled to the UK, I wouldn't know a lot of these sites because they're very personal for people, you know, or to Australia or to China or to, there's Italy in here, there's different parts of the US in here, we have Peru, yeah, it's places all over the world. So yeah, and I'll leave a link below so you guys can snag your copy on Kickstarter. So please, please, please help us, help us, help us make it a reality. All right, so that's it, you guys. That was my faves for April. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this. Whew, a lot of faves. Well, there's a lot that was going on in April. And just remember that when I create a faves video, it's not me saying that everybody should go out and go buy things, you know, in order to make yourself happy or to order to have a good month. You know, it's more just showing these are things that are my favorites. A lot of these things are older. Some of them are newer. Some of you can mix and match. And I just like, you know, like when I watch a faves, I just like looking at people's things and like thinking about how maybe I can repurpose things that I already own, or, you know, maybe thinking about cleaning out my stuff and being like, oh, you know, finding some things that I haven't loved in a while, and, you know, and it gives me a chance to kind of go through my own stuff, you know. So yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed this, and if you did, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, don't forget to click subscribe, and don't forget to click that ding 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 notification bell for more videos just like this. And if you want to catch a reading from me, head over to www.kittenswaitsandtarot.com. And like I said before, the time is running out to catch your deck for Wallys World, A Healing Journey Through Sacred Sites on Kickstarter. So that Kickstarter link is down below as well. So let's do this. Let's take it off the ground. Let's put it into reality. And yeah, I will catch you spiritual homies later. All right. Peace, love, and chicken grease. Peace out.